Now then, mental illness is an issue that we've raised a number of times on the programme, and tonight we're hearing from Ollie Jones. He's a tennis coach from Sale who was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. It's a subject close to Ollie's heart, and his father killed himself when Ollie was just 18 months old.
Yeah, now he's campaigning to raise awareness of men's suicide and wants to encourage men who are struggling to cope to ask for help. I asked him earlier when he first thought he had a problem.
Around about 22, 23, I first started. It was more depression than anything else. There was no real mania, I don't think, at that particular time. But I think the depression manifested itself in a lack of energy, just staying in bed, no motivation. It got a lot worse later on in my 20s and my early 30s.
And what about the manic episodes? I mean, what was that like?
It was fun for a time because you had loads of energy, loads of ideas. The problem was you hardly had any sleep, so sometimes I'd survive on maybe 1, 2, 3 hours of sleep a night. But it's equally as destructive as the depression, to be honest with you. When
doctors, medics said, Ollie, we're pretty sure you are bipolar.
Yeah.
That must have been a relief, I would imagine. At least you knew why you were feeling the way you were.
Yeah, I think so. I think, to be honest, Tony, I think I probably had a suspicion beforehand. I really did have a sort of feeling that it probably was bipolar. So unfortunately, my father took his own life when I was only 18 months old, and there's a history of mental illness within my family, certainly on the male side. But still, my biological father, he took his own life, and I didn't get to know him, so I wasn't prepared to do that to my own children.
Do you also believe that there's still a stigma attached to mental health, that when you were going through what you were going through, people were just, oh, Ollie's just being weird, or Ollie's just being hyper when you were in your manic phases? Do you think there's an element of that? Yeah,
massively. There's definitely stigma still attached to it. It's very hard for anybody to speak out about mental illness, but certainly for men and young men. Unfortunately, there's a terrible stat that suicide is now the biggest killer of young men. I believe under 50. So it's a very difficult thing for men to admit that that there are those problems, and I was suicidal, and I did have those problems, and it was very difficult for me to be able to admit that.
Your sport, you believe, has helped you immensely in coping with and dealing with the issues that you had. Tell us about that.
I think exercise in general is almost proven to help people suffering from depression, releasing natural endorphins and just making them feel better about themselves. And I've always been heavily involved in sport, and my career as a tennis coach at Brooklyn Sports Club. I don't think I possibly wouldn't have been here without the exercise to bring me through.
For anybody watching this now, Ollie,
yeah,
who might think they have something similar, what would you say to them today?
Try and speak out. Try and talk to somebody that loves you, I would say. Certainly depression can be that bad that you're not physically able to talk, but there are some great charities out there, Tony. You've got Mind, you've got the Samaritans. Movember are doing some great work now in mental health. So if you haven't got those close people to talk to, there are some fantastic people out there that will be able to help you.
Okay, Ollie, thank you very much for talking to us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, our thanks to Ollie for sharing his story, and to find out more on that and the help and support available, go to our website, itv.com/Granada.
A father has been jailed for the murder of his daughter, who was just